Welcome to Legion Builds, where I guide you on how to bring your favorite characters into Dungeons & Dragons. This video and all my content is made possible by my Patreon supporters. It's also dedicated to everyone who subscribes to my channel. I wouldn't do any of this without you guys. Seriously, thank you very much. Today we're building the demon sword Crona from Soul Eater. Crona is a pretty tragic character. The only child of the witch Medusa Gorgon, from a young age, Crona was experimented on and tormented, all for the goal of creating the perfect weapon. This led Crona to suffer anxiety and feeling of worthlessness. This is only made worse when they are bound to the demon weapon Ragnarok by using the dangerous black blood. Once bound together, Ragnarok tormented and controlled Crona, pushing them to complete madness. Because of the black blood and the bonding with Ragnarok, Crona has many abilities and skills. They have mastered fighting with 3 swords, which combined with their ability to summon multiple weapons at once, comes in handy. They can also lash out at range in a similar way to their mother's Vector Arrows spell, creating armor, fly, and can induce fear and madness in their enemies. All of this made Crona one of the most dangerous individuals in the world. In case anyone is confused, I am pulling from both the anime and manga for this build, which anime is traditionally trimmed down and loses some things. For today's build, we'll be using the Player's Handbook and Xanathar's Guide to Everything. We're using standard point array to make things easy for you should you use a different system, such as point buy or rolling for stats. And we're not multi-classing, so don't worry about minimums. We'll start things off with Charisma at 15. Your power is directly connected to your emotions and the state of your mind, so we'll need to max this out. Con follows at 14. While your powers are connected to your emotions, it's your blood that fuels it. Dex comes in at 13. With Ragnarok controlling your body, your reflexes and agility are amazing. Intelligence will be coming in at 12. You are rather intelligent, but tend to be very timid. Strength will be low with 10, and we'll be dumping Wisdom. Your constant abuse from Medusa and Ragnarok has led you to be easily controlled and unable to handle things. Crona is a human with witch ancestry. Baron Human grants you a free skill and feat with your stat improvements. Place +1 into Dex and Charisma. For your feat, Dual Wielder improves your ability to wield 2 weapons at once. While wielding 2 weapons, you can add +1 to your AC, you can use weapons that aren't light, and you can draw and stow 2 weapons with the same action. The last one's not going to be helpful because you're going to be able to magically summon both weapons. For your skill, grab Acrobatics. For background, take the skills Deception and Religion. You're not deceptive by nature, but you don't want your friends to know the truth about you. Okay, so you never asked for your abilities, you got it when your mother melted a living weapon into the black blood and then injected into your body. Think I know where we're going with this. Level 1 Warlocks start off with 2 skills. Take Arcana and Investigation to better serve your mother. Otherworldly Patron is the source of your power. We'll call Ragnarok a sentient weapon and make you a Hexblade. Hex Warrior grants you proficiency with martial weapons, shields, and medium armor. You can also bond with a weapon that you are proficient with at the end of a long rest if it lacks the 2-handed property. You can now use your Charisma for attack and damage with that weapon. This lasts until you finish a long rest. Hexblade's Curse lets you curse 1 target for 1 minute that you can see within 30 feet of you, with a bonus action. Once cursed, they will receive extra damage equal to your proficiency bonus when you deal damage to them. You'll crit against them on a 19 or 20, and if the target dies, you regain hit points equal to your Warlock level plus Charisma modifier. You can curse 1 creature per short or long rest. Pack Magic makes you a full spellcaster. You have very limited spell slots, but will have those spell slots maxed out to the highest level you have access to. You start off with 2 cantrips and 2 spells for your 2 spell slots. Told you, limited. For your spells, Eldritch Blast unleashes your Black Blood Thorns, hitting a target out to 120 feet and dealing 1d10 force damage on a hit. Booming Blade energizes your sword attacks. When you use a melee weapon to cast this cantrip, your attack will encase your enemy with energy should you hit them. If they willingly move 5 feet, the energy is released and they take 1d8 thunder damage. Shield adds +5 to your AC as a reaction. Arms of Hadar unleashes more Black Blood Thorns, attacking everyone within 10 feet of you, forcing a strength save. Should they fail, they take 2d6 necrotic damage and cannot take reactions until their next turn. Level 2 Warlocks receive Eldritch Invocations. These are enhancements from your patron. You gain 2 at this level. For those invocations, Armor of Shadows grants you the ability to cast Mage Armor without a spell slot or material component. This gives you an AC of 13 plus Dex for 8 hours. Agonizing Blast adds your Charisma modifier to your Eldritch Blast damage. For your new spell, Cause Fear targets one creature within 60 feet of you and forces a Wisdom save. Should they fail, they are now frightened of you for 1 minute while you maintain the spell. While being maintained, they can retake the save at the end of each of their turns. Level 3 Warlocks gain a Pact Boon. These are gifts from your patron, but for you, it will give you Ragnarok. Pact of the Blade lets you summon any weapon you wish with an action, and you can bond with it using your Hex Warrior. This can also be a magic weapon that you find and bond with. With an action, you can summon it. You also gain 2nd level spell slots. Now all your spells that can be upgraded with higher slots will automatically be upgraded each time this goes up. Like Cause Fear can now target 2 creatures. For your new spell, Crown of Madness targets one humanoid you can see within 120 feet. Forcing a Wisdom save, they become charmed should they fail. While charmed, the target must use their action before moving on each of its turns to make a melee attack against a creature you choose. While you maintain this spell for 1 minute, you must use your action each turn to continue it. At the end of each of their turns, they can retake the save to try and end the spell. Level 4 Warlocks earn our first ability score improvement. Place this into Dex because we're going to need it right now. For your new spell, Shadow Blade summons a 2nd sword with a bonus action for 1 minute while you maintain the spell. This sword has the Finesse, Light, and Throne properties, and deals 2d8 psychic damage on a hit. You also have advantage on attack rolls in dim light or darkness. Now this sword can't benefit from Hex Warrior, but you have a good dex so both weapons will be equal. You also gain another cantrip, Go Nuts. Level 5 Warlocks have another invocation. For this invocation, Thirsting Blade lets you attack twice with a single attack action with your packed weapon. This means while wielding 2 swords, you will now be attacking 3 times. You also now have 3rd level spell slots. For your new spell, Fly grants you a flying speed of up to 10 minutes while you maintain this spell. You now have a flying speed of 60 feet. Your character level 5 now. You now fire 2 Eldritch Blasts with a single action, and Booming Blade now deals an extra 1d8 thunder damage on top of the normal weapon damage, and does 2d8 thunder damage when they willingly move 5 feet. Level 6 Hexblade Warlocks receive a Cursed Spectre, and this doesn't make any sense for you, but we'll work with it. Now when you kill a creature, you can bind the creature's soul to your service until the end of your next long rest. Once bonded, the soul uses the stats for a Spectre, found on page 279 of the Monster Manual. It gains temporary hit points equal to half your Warlock level, and gains a bonus to attack rolls equal to your Charisma modifier. For your new spell, Spirit Shroud unleashes your madness and increases your power. For 1 minute while you maintain the spell, you deal 1d8 damage when you hit a creature within 10 feet of you. When you cast this spell, you choose what damage type you will deal, choosing between Radiant, Cold, or Necrotic. Additionally, any creature you see that starts its turn within 10 feet of you has its speed decreased by 10 feet until the start of your next turn. Level 7 Warlocks gain another invocation. For your new invocation, Improved Pack Weapon adds +1 to attack and damage to your packed weapon, and turns your pack weapon into your spellcasting focus. You also gain 4th level spell slots. For your new spell, Staggering Smite empowers your melee attack. After casting the spell with a bonus action, your next attack deals an extra 4d6 psychic damage. The target must now make a Wisdom save and will have disadvantage on attack rolls and skill checks, and can't take reactions until the end of its next turn while you maintain this spell. Level 8 Warlocks earn another ability score improvement, Let's Grab a Feat. Fighting Initiate gives you a fighting style. 2-weapon fighting lets you add your damage modifier to both your main and offhand attacks. For your new spell, Fear inflicts your madness on others, creating a 30-foot cone from you, forcing a Wisdom save on everyone within the cone. Should they fail, they are now frightened of you, drop everything they are holding, and can only use their action to dash away from you. They can only retake the save when they break line of sight from you while you maintain the spell for 1 minute. Level 9 Warlocks receive another invocation. For this invocation, Eldritch Mind gives you advantage on concentration saves made to maintain spells. You also now have 5th level spell slots. For your new spell, take whatever you want. We get 6 more spells, and frankly, we don't need any normal spells from here on out. We'll need special spells, but we'll get them in a minute. Level 10 Hexblade Warlocks now have Armor of Hexes. Now when the creature that is cursed by your Hexblade's curse hits you, you can use your reaction to roll a d6. If it is 4 or higher, the attack misses you regardless of the roll. You also get a new cantrip and a new spell. Have fun. Level 11 Warlocks gain their first Mystic Arcanum. These are spells of 6th level or higher that you can cast once per long rest without a spell slot. For this Arcanum, we're grabbing a 6th level spell. Soul Cage lets Ragnarok consume the soul of a humanoid who dies within 60 feet of you with a reaction. Once consumed, you can now use the soul 6 times for up to 8 hours, and then it vanishes. When you use the soul, you choose an effect. Those effects are, can regain 2d8 hit points with a bonus action, can ask the soul a question, use a bonus action to gain advantage on your next attack roll, skill check, or saving throw, or can spy on a location that the soul has been with an action. You gain a new spell, choose what you want. And guess what? You now have 3 spell slots. Your character level 11 now. You can now fire 3 Eldritch Blasts with a single action, and Booming Blade now deals an extra 2d8 thunder damage on top of normal damage, and 3d8 thunder damage when they willingly move. Level 12 Warlocks earn another ability score improvement. Place this into Charisma for better attack, damage, spell attack, and DC. You also get another invocation. For this invocation, Life Drinker adds necrotic damage to your pack weapon equal to your Charisma modifier. Level 13 Warlocks receive another Mystic Arcanum, this time at 7th level. For this Arcanum, Power Word Pain releases Ragnarok's Scream. Speaking a single word, you target a single creature within 60 feet that has an HP of 100 or less, crippling them with pain. While they are affected, they can only have a speed of 10 feet, have disadvantage on attack rolls, skill checks, and saving throws, except for con saves. If they attempt to cast a spell, they must make a con save. If they fail to save, the spell fails and is wasted. At the end of each of its turns, they can attempt to end the pain with a con save. You also gain a new spell, take what you want. Level 14 Hexblade Warlocks receive Master of Hexes. Now when the creature who is cursed with your Hexblade's curse dies, you can move the curse to a new creature within 30 feet of you, but you will forfeit regaining any hit points from the previous target's death. Level 15 Warlocks gain another invocation. For this invocation, Maddening Hex makes your Hexblade curse so much worse for your enemies by allowing Ragnarok to unleash another scream. As a bonus action, you force out your madness, dealing psychic damage equal to your Charisma modifier to the cursed target and each creature within 5 feet of them. To do this, you must see the cursed target and be within 30 feet. You also gain a new Mystic Arcanum, now at 8th level. For this Arcanum, Power Word Stun unleashes a new scream from Ragnarok. Now speaking another word towards a creature within 60 feet, if the target is at 150 HP or lower, they are stunned. The target must make a con save at the end of each of its turns to end the stun. For your new spell, choose what you want. Level 16 Warlocks earn another ability score improvement, Cap Off Charisma. Level 17 Warlocks receive their final Mystic Arcanum, now at 9th level. Time for 3 swords. Kind of. I'll explain in a minute. Bladed Disaster creates a sword with a bonus action within 60 feet of you that floats while you maintain the spell for 1 minute. When you cast this spell, the sword attacks twice as a spell melee attack, dealing 4d12 force damage on a hit or 12d12 on a crit, which you can score with the sword on an 18 or higher. As a bonus action, the sword can move 30 feet and attack twice. Now this isn't 3 swords, but by keeping this close to you, this means you can attack 4 times with your packed weapon and the Blade of Disaster. So reflavor it to look like 2 swords, and now you have 3. By the way, you now have 4 spell slots, which is the most you can have without multi-classing. Your character level 17 now. You can now fire a grand total of 4 Eldritch Blasts with a single action, and Booming Blade will now deal 3d8 thunder damage on top of Ragnarok's normal damage, and 4d8 thunder damage when they willingly move 5 feet. Level 18 Warlocks gain our final invocation. For this invocation, Eldritch Smite lets you burn one of your spell slots to deal an extra 5d8 force damage with your packed weapon and knocking the target prone if they are a size huge or smaller. Level 19 Warlocks earn our final ability score improvement. Place this into decks for better AC attack and damage. You also get your final spell, Go Nuts. Our final level is level 20 Warlock, and you get Eldritch Master. You can now spend 1 minute to ask Ragnarok if it's okay if you can have your spell slots back, because you're gonna burn through these fast. You can only do this once per long rest. Now that we've hit level 20, let's recap. Your stats are Strength 10, Dex 18, Con 14, Intelligence 12, Wisdom 8, Charisma 20. Let's dive in. You really are someone people shouldn't mess with. Let's look at your standard attack. Wielding Ragnarok as a longsword, you're dealing 1d8 plus 11 slashing damage plus 5 necrotic damage on a cursed target and can then add 5d8 force damage. If you want to wield only one weapon, you can then add another 2d8 necrotic damage. If you want to wield two weapons, you can now deal 3d8 plus 4 psychic damage, or you can wield two more swords on top of Ragnarok and deal 4d12 force damage per hit. Ragnarok can do more than just attack as well. He can weaken enemies, inflict madness, consume their souls, and unleash psychic damage. To round things out, you have an AC of 17, 18 when you're wielding two weapons, and can bring that up to a 23 with a reaction, and around 143 HP taking the average. Downside: you have really limited resources with only 4 spell slots and several one-shot abilities. You'll start burning out of all this if you're very careless. You also have a lot of spells that have amazing effects that all require concentration, so you'll have to pick and choose what you want to do. Finally, your wisdom score is garbage, and that is a spellcaster's favorite target stat. And the save is only going to be +5, so yeah, you might be failing some saves. This build can be improved by changing some things out or rolling for stats. If you're not worried about fighting with two swords, or you just want to focus on using spell slots to empower your attacks, that makes things very easy for you. I went with multiple sword combat because I'm a nerd for two-weapon fighting, so make this your own. Just let Ragnarok and your mother guide you to victory. You know what, on second thought, forget those two. You deserve better than that. Fight to regain your freedom and make some friends that can help pull you from the darkness of your own madness. Thank you for joining me today. I release a new character build each week on YouTube and Spotify. And now on Patreon, you can help decide next week's build. It's an Apex Legends showdown. Will it be Revenant, Wraith, Bloodhound, or Lifeline?